suffered through it. I slept on 2 chairs with my feet up in the air because I'm deathly afraid of mice myself. Got about 90 minutes worth of sleep. And the next morning we woke up. We even took the group out to breakfast. And yet we were still kind of grumbling about this experience. Then I got a text message from Val. And Valerie said, "Mike, the food is great, but this morning we are hungering and thirsty for God. Let's get together this morning and pray and remind ourselves that God is here with us." That changed everything. That changed our day. It changed our outlook. See, she remembered what we had all forgotten. That even in the midst of a wife's a teacher. She probably couldn't give that kid an extra hour or so of help when they really needed it. She had to rush home to take care of her family. We open our doors twice a week to our Catholic volunteers to come and have a little bit of hospitality in our home. Again, something we probably couldn't do if we had a family. And the loss of not having a family is still painful to us, but yet, all these other things that God's offered us really has brought us so much life, so much unexpected life. And it's pretty good. I'm not upset about my life at all. So do you have something to grumble about? Bring it on. But also have faith that your grumblings can in fact be more than grumblings. Your grumblings can be an opportunity for you this Lent to look a little deeper at what those grumblings really are. And they may indeed call you to change. And in that change, you may find that God offers you something that satisfies your hungers